How's that? Does that pass?
Anne's husband Alex was killed on Mount Longdon on June 13th, hours before Argentina surrendered. She hasn't been able to face visiting the Falklands until now.
It wasn't something that I felt I could do. I didn't want to see it. But years on, and I'm so glad that I came. So very glad, because it's made sense of everything. I'm a bit tired and a bit overwrought because it's been a lot to take on board. But the island people are some of the nicest people I've ever met in my life. And I feel really humbled that after all these years, they still want us here. I'd actually gone to stay with a friend who was in the RAF in Wales. And before you left your married quarters, then you had to sign a form to say where you were and where you were going and when you would be back. And it was the Monday morning of the 14th. They'd surrendered, so I thought, yay, you'll be home soon. And there was a knock on the door. My friend's husband went to the door. I've never seen a man's colour drain from his face. He was beyond white. And I just said to him, who is it? And he said, it's for you. I said, well, it can't be, because nobody, oh God. The only people that know I'm here are the military. So then I had a bit of an idea. It was a little man, and I called him the little grey man, because he had a grey suit, grey hair, and a grey face. And he just looked at me and told me, and I walked away. I picked up my son, looked in the mirror, and said, what the hell do I do now? What do I do now? Well, that looks pretty much perfect.
At just 21, Anne was left with a 5-month-old son. This remembrance, she's one of over 100 veterans and bereaved family who made the 18-hour journey to the South Atlantic to see the Falklands, meet the islanders, and most difficult of all, visit the place her husband was killed.
Was it what you expected?
No, it was worse. I had no idea that it was so hard. Not as in hard for me. I mean, the ground was so hard. The rocks are so sharp, and everything looked nasty. And it was a real wake-up call, really. I think that how hard it must have been for them back then, in the cold, and yeah, it must have been horrific. But I'm glad I did it, because it does make it all more real. Because as you go through grief in the early days, I was convinced he wasn't dead. He was a very good-looking man, and I was convinced he'd found an islander, and that I would come to the island and maybe find him one day. But yeah, come on then, let's go. I'll go home feeling quite peaceful. Yeah, and I also know that he'll never be forgotten. So that's good.